Introduction. Managing stress is more important than ever in today's fast-paced world. Modern life stresses and obligations can make anyone develop chronic stress, and when stress isn't managed, it can have negative effects on health and even relationships. When people are under stress for an extended length of time, their immune systems can weaken. Heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes are just some of the chronic illnesses that stress might exacerbate. The likelihood of these health problems can be reduced by practicing good stress management practices. Anxiety, anger, and even depression can result from the ongoing stresses of job, family, and other personal daily activities. Individuals who have learned to effectively control their stress have better resiliency, emotional maturity, and coping methods at their disposal when faced with adversity. Constant stress may wreak havoc on a person's brain, causing them to lose focus, forget things more easily, and become less imaginative. Stress management techniques help people concentrate better, stay motivated, and get more done in their personal and professional lives. Managing stress also makes it easier to develop positive relationships with others. Relationships can be strained by chronic stress, which can make people less sympathetic and patient. A person's ability to communicate, express needs, and show empathy for others all improve when they take steps to reduce their stress levels. Managing stress can also help you strike a better balance between your professional and personal life. Those who are able to keep their stress levels in check are better able to focus on the things that truly matter in life, such as their loved ones, interests, and their own development. In today's chaotic world, stress management is more important than ever. To protect one's physical health, mental and emotional well-being, productivity, relationships, and general happiness and life satisfaction, the individual must prioritize and adopt effective stress management practices. In this book, we will be looking at various ways that mothers and women can manage stress effectively. Chapter 1. What stress is and how it manifests. Stress is the physical and mental reaction to demands, pressures, or threats that are more than what one feels they can handle. Multiple stress manifestations exist, each with its own set of symptoms. Acute stress, which results from pressing demands, is a common prevalent form of stress. It happens when we are confronted with unforeseen obstacles. The fight-or-flight reaction is activated in response to extreme stress, and its effects include a raised heart rate, faster breathing, and a heightened state of awareness. When the source of the stress is removed or the problem is treated, the stress usually disappears. However, prolonged contact with stressors and an ongoing state of heightened arousal characterize chronic stress. It may be the result of persistent stresses at job, home, relationships, or in other areas of life. Physical and mental health concerns such as heart disease, a lowered immune system, anxiety, depression, and burnout can result from prolonged exposure to chronic stress. When people are subjected to repeated episodes of acute stress, they are said to be suffering from episodic acute stress. Type A personalities are more predisposed to experience acute stress episodes because they are more driven, competitive, and impatient. They tend to stress themselves overly often because they take on too many tasks and set unrealistically high standards for themselves. Environmental stressors can include things like excessive background noise, hazardous air, and crowded public spaces. We are vulnerable to the cumulative effects of environmental stressors, which can disturb our daily routines, alter our sleep habits, and ultimately compromise our health. Internal stressors are also included in the broader category of psychological stressors. Mental stress can be caused by things like having a negative internal dialogue, worrying too much, having unrealistic expectations of oneself, and having skewed perspectives. The stresses at the workplace are a major contributor to occupational stress. Stress can develop as a result of things like having too much work to do in too little time and dealing with difficult coworkers. Stress in the workplace can lead to diminished output, decreased job satisfaction, and even physical and mental health issues. There is also a societal and cultural facet to stress. Cultural standards, social comparisons, and the weight of societal expectations can all contribute to an individual's level of societal stress. The pressure to conform to social norms or achieve some unattainable standard of excellence can be a source of stress for some people. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Traumatic events, either experienced or witnessed, can trigger post-traumatic stress disorder. They can be events like earthquakes, car crashes, sexual assaults, and wars. Trauma-related intrusive thoughts, nightmares, flashbacks, and heightened emotional arousal may all be symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. People with PTSD may engage in evasive or emotionally numbing behavior as a means of coping with the upsetting recollections. Those who are regularly exposed to traumatic experiences at work or in their personal lives may develop secondary traumatic stress, also called compassion fatigue. Healthcare workers, first responders, social workers are particularly vulnerable because of their frequent interactions with trauma survivors. The development of PTSD-like symptoms, such as intrusive thoughts, emotional weariness, and a lack of empathy, might come from prolonged exposure to the trauma of others. It's important to remember that everyone reacts to stress in their own unique way. Headaches, gastrointestinal problems, and muscle tension are all examples of physical symptoms. Irritability, difficulties focusing, and altered sleep patterns are all examples of psychological symptoms. If we know what to look for, we can identify stressors as they arise and take appropriate action to alleviate it. Exercise, relaxation techniques, practicing mindfulness, reaching out to friends and family, and partaking in activities we enjoy are all great ways to reduce stress and boost health and happiness. Understanding the multifaceted nature of stress paves the way for the development of more adaptive coping mechanisms, the strengthening of one's resilience, and the promotion of overall well-being and happiness. Recognizing that stress may have far-reaching effects on not just individuals, but also their relationships and communities is equally vital. Relational stress can cause arguments and breaks in communication. Tension and misunderstandings can arise from stress, so it's important for people to keep lines of communication open, show empathy, and look for ways to work together and support one another. Consequences of prolonged stress on a societal level can be far-reaching. It has the potential to exacerbate inequalities, weaken social bonds, and negatively affect the quality of life in a society. High unemployment rates and financial instability are two examples of economic stresses that can put a substantial strain on individuals and families, increasing stress and decreasing quality of life. Initiatives that foster economic stability, social support systems, and access to mental health resources are critical for communities and policymakers to manage these societal stressors. It's also important to remember that stress is a natural part of living and that not all stress is bad. Eustress, which means good stress, can spur people on to take on and complete challenging tasks. Life events like getting engaged, starting a new job, or going on an exciting adventure can all bring on feelings of eustress. But we need to make sure we don't let that beneficial stress build up to the point where it becomes harmful by practicing good stress management. Recognizing everyday stressors. Many people experience stress because of their jobs. The pressure to perform well under adverse conditions, including heavy workloads, short deadlines, and demanding superiors or customers, is real. Work-related stresses can include worries about losing one's job, having difficulties getting along with coworkers, or being unhappy with one's professional advancement. Constant stress and anxiety can result from financial difficulties such as debt or living paycheck to paycheck. It can be stressful trying to make ends meet between personal and family commitments. Technology and the constant flow of information can be sources of anxiety in today's globalized society. Because of email, social media, and instant messaging, it can be difficult to distinguish between business and personal life. Stress can result from strained relationships brought on by problems such as a lack of clear boundaries, arguments, and unfulfilled expectations. The cumulative effect of daily inconveniences and duties can be stressful. Stress and exhaustion are common reactions to having to manage numerous duties at once, including household chores, child, elderly care, and work. Poor food, lack of exercise, inadequate sleep, and substance addiction are among lifestyle factors that have been linked to increased stress. One's ability to deal with pressures can decrease if they don't take care of themselves and engage in healthy habits. Positive or negative change and transitions can cause anxiety. Major life changes like relocation, employment, or the arrival of a new kid, or the passing of a loved one, can throw us off balance and cause us to react with stress. Noise, pollution, and overcrowding are all examples of environmental stressors that can have a negative effect on human health. These things can add to the general degree of anxiety one feels. Stress in our daily lives can be exacerbated by societal pressures and expectations. In our pursuit of academic excellence, professional advancement, physical perfection, and social acceptance, we may feel that we're never quite good enough. Chronic stress can result from time constraints and an imbalance between work and personal life. Stress levels can skyrocket when confronted with uncertainty or the fear of the unknown. Anxiety and stress can be triggered by a lack of control or stability. Whether it is over one's future, one's circumstances, or world events, feeling inadequate and stressed out can also result from comparing ourselves to others, especially in the age of social media. Looking at the lives and accomplishments of others might make you question your own worth. Stress can also be brought on by one's own high standards and desire for excellence. Extreme stress and worry can result from trying to be flawless in every part of life, setting impossible goals, and being overly critical of oneself. A lack of social connections and proper support systems can magnify the negative effects of stress. It's tough to go through unpleasant patches if you don't have somebody you can talk to, get advice from, or lean on emotionally for support. Understanding that what we call stress can vary from person to person is crucial. A stressful event that greatly affects one person may have little to no effect on another. Understanding and contemplating our own unique sources of stress is crucial. By identifying and characterizing various sources of stress, we may create targeted plans for coping with and relieving stress. The first step in stress management is to recognize these everyday sources of stress. Relaxation techniques, seeking social support, setting boundaries, prioritizing self-care, and building healthy coping mechanisms are just some of the ways to deal with stress once its causes have been identified and understood. Taking measures to alleviate these stresses will help you live a happier, healthier, and more resilient life. The impact of stress on the body and mind. Both physical and mental stress have different effects on us, and these effects are intricately intertwined. When we feel threatened, our bodies react in a variety of ways to get us ready to deal with the situation. Hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline are secreted by the adrenal glands in reaction to stress. The effects of this include elevated heart rate and blood pressure, as well as fast breathing. The body reacts to a perceived threat by tightening its muscles and heightening its senses in preparation for either an attack or a flight. These are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the physiological repercussions of stress. Persistent activation of the stress response, brought on by prolonged or chronic stress, can place substantial load on many different body systems. Increases in heart rate and blood pressure, for instance, can put a strain on the cardiovascular system and raise the danger of cardiovascular disease and stroke. Stress can have a negative effect on the digestive system, leading to issues like stomach aches and irritable bowel syndrome. The reproductive system may also be affected by stress, leading to problems including diminished libido, irregular menstruation cycles, or infertility. The mental effects of stress are no less important than the physical ones. When stress persists over time, it can have a deleterious effect on our mental health and can cause or exacerbate certain conditions. Anxiety, depression, impatience, and mood changes are all symptoms of stress. Memory, focus, and the ability to make sound decisions are just few of the cognitive talents that might be negatively impacted. Sleep problems, including sleeplessness or nightmares, might arise, adding stress to an already stressful situation. To improve one's health as a whole, it is essential to understand the ways in which stress manifests itself in one's body. We can manage and lessen the toll that stress takes on our bodies and brains if we have a firm grasp on how it does so. Mindfulness, deep breathing exercises, regular physical activity, and reaching out to friends, family, and experts are all examples of approaches that might help reduce stress. Realize that stress is a normal reaction to adversity and that it is impossible to exist without some degree of stress. However, we may lessen stress's negative impacts on our health by using stress management techniques. Components of stress management include developing resilience, engaging in self-care, and several other coping techniques we will look at in detail as we progress through the book. Chapter 2. The Biology of Stress. Humans have evolved a highly sophisticated reaction mechanism to assist them deal with the stresses of daily life. The fight or flight response is a set of reactions to stress that entail both physical and mental adjustments designed to get us ready to take some kind of action when faced with danger. The brain's amygdala is responsible for identifying and evaluating potential dangers, while the hypothalamus controls the body's stress response after receiving signals from the amygdala. The hypothalamus relays this information to the autonomic nerve system, which regulates many automatic biological processes. The sympathetic nervous system is one of the two major divisions of the autonomic nervous system. When we're under pressure, our sympathetic nervous system kicks in while our parasympathetic nervous system goes into hibernation. The activation of this system triggers a cascade of physiological responses. The adrenal glands secrete stress hormones like adrenaline, epinephrine, and cortisol in response to stimulation of the sympathetic nervous system. Adrenaline is a hormone that quickly raises your heart rate and blood pressure to give you an intense surge of energy. In contrast, cortisol prolongs the stress response by elevating blood sugar and dampening less crucial bodily processes like digestion and the immune system. Blood is transferred from the digestive system and other less crucial tissues to the brain, heart, and other muscles as the stress reaction heightens. The digestive process slows down and you get butterflies in your stomach as a result. Meanwhile, a rise in heart rate improves performance by supplying more oxygen and nutrients to working muscles. The respiratory system also ramps up, resulting in quick, shallow breathing to maintain an adequate oxygen supply to the body. Taking in more oxygen helps with more strenuous exercise and may also make you more alert and focused in general. Our mental and emotional stability are both altered by the stress reaction. When activated, the amygdala produces norepinephrine and other neurotransmitters that heighten awareness and readiness to respond to danger. However, sustained or extreme stress response activation can have a negative impact on cognitive abilities like attention, memory, and judgment. When the danger has passed, the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in to bring everything back into harmony and calm the body down. It helps the body recover from the stress response by facilitating processes like digestion, slowing down the heart rate, and relaxing muscles. Chronic or recurrent activation of the stress response system without proper recovery can have harmful effects on physical and mental health, despite the fact that the stress response system is essential for survival and adaptation. Chronic stress can cause heart disease, a weaker immune system, as well as mental health issues like depression and anxiety. The body's stress response system affects more than just the physiological and psychological responses we've already covered. Anxiety, depression, and a heightened awareness of danger are all emotional responses to stress. When we're under pressure, our body releases chemicals that can have a direct impact on how we feel emotionally. Depression and anxiety are only two examples of how long-term stress can affect a person's mental health. Stress might also cause changes in how you sleep. It might be challenging to unwind and get to sleep when the body is in a heightened level of alertness. Stress can cause trouble sleeping or poor quality sleep, both of which can have negative impacts on health. A good night's sleep is essential for revitalization and general well-being. Stress has also been linked to gastrointestinal issues like indigestion, stomach aches, and hunger swings. When the body is under stress, digestion slows down and the digestive organs receive less blood than usual. This might cause gastrointestinal distress and pain. Stress can also impair cognitive performance. Hormones released in response to stress have been shown to have negative effects on cognition. Under pressure, it might be harder to think straight and absorb information, both of which are necessary for accomplishing tasks successfully. The link between stress and long-term illness. The immune system is weakened by chronic stress, rendering us more vulnerable to illness. Chronic diseases like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and autoimmune disorders may be more likely to manifest in those with compromised immune systems. Hormones released in response to stress raise blood pressure and heart rate, which, in the long run, can induce hypertension and cardiovascular disease. Plaque formation in the arteries, a precursor to atherosclerosis and an increased threat of heart attack and stroke, can also be exacerbated by stress. Long-term stress is linked to the onset or worsening of mental health issues like depression and anxiety. In turn, these mental health issues are associated with a higher chance of developing chronic conditions. Depression has been linked to an increased risk of many health problems, including weight gain, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. Overeating, excessive alcohol consumption, smoking, and drug abuse are all unhealthy coping techniques that many people adopt to deal with stress. Many chronic ailments, including those of the liver, lungs, and addiction, are made more likely by these practices. The link between stress and chronic illness goes both ways. Stress can exacerbate pre-existing conditions, and vice versa. Not all chronic diseases can be traced back to stress. Other factors like genetics, lifestyle, and the environment all have a role. Chronic stress, on the other hand, is a known risk factor that can worsen pre-existing illnesses and make treatment more difficult to achieve. Chapter 3. Understanding your stressors. Self-reflection is a good way to learn about and make sense of one's inner world of thoughts and feelings. Self-reflection exercises might be useful for figuring out the origins of our stress and anxiety. I will share some tips on how to self-reflect. Step 1 is to locate a peaceful area where you won't be disturbed while you think. Calm down by taking a few deep breaths, which will help you regain your composure. As you dig into the mind, let your thoughts wander and investigate many facets of your existence. Get a paper and pen, or use your computer. The first step is to put on paper the things that have caused you stress recently. Pay attention to the feelings that come up as you write, and see if you can spot any patterns. Think on how you felt physically and emotionally in those situations, and try to pinpoint what it was about those circumstances that caused you stress. Mindfulness meditation is an additional strategy. Take a seat somewhere cozy and concentrate on your breathing. Let stressful ideas come and go, watching them without reacting to them. Keep an eye out for anything that pops into your head that has to do with stress as you engage in this routine. Keep track of what comes up in your mind during meditation, since it may shed light on what causes you stress. Answering open-ended questions about oneself can also be beneficial. Asking yourself introspective questions like, what situations make me feel the most stressed? Are there any specific people or environments that consistently contribute to my stress? What thoughts or beliefs do I hold that amplify my stress levels? And letting your mind wander to explore these questions without forcing yourself to find immediate answers can be helpful. The objective is to raise consciousness and learn to recognize and control the conditions that put you under stress. Consider your regular habits and routines. Observe your moods before, during, and after performing specific chores. If work or social obligations that take up too much of your time, it may be a recurrent source of stress for you. If you're able to identify these things that cause you stress, you can take steps to reduce your exposure to potential stressors. Introspection could take some time and the experience of living through a variety of scenarios before you identify all the things that cause you stress. Through it all, treat yourself with kindness and care. Knowing your own stressors better equips you to take measures that will have a positive effect on your health and well-being. Taking care of oneself is equally crucial when dealing with stressors. Think about how well self-care fits into your daily routine. Is your health compromised in any particular ways? Think about how you feel physically, what you need emotionally, and how you're doing mentally. Think about the things you do that make you happy, calm you down, or help you feel more balanced. By incorporating them into your daily life, you can reduce your vulnerability to stress. Also remember that stress levels are directly related to how well we handle our finances. Many people find that worrying about money is a major source of stress in their lives. Budgeting, saving money, and paying down debt are all proactive ways to gain financial footing and lessen stress. Relational and environmental factors in stress. Relationships and the surrounding environment play significant roles in the development of stress. Both personal and professional relationships have the potential to reduce or increase feelings of stress. Our mental health is profoundly affected by the number and quality of our relationships. Personal relationships can act as a stress buffer if they are mutually supportive and loving. Having supportive people in one's life can help one feel safe and loved, which in turn can help one persevere through adversity. However, the opposite is true. Stress can be exacerbated by negative or strained relationships, which can weaken our ability to cope with adversity and raise our risk of developing stress-related diseases. The dynamics of one's work relationships can have a major bearing on one's stress levels at the workplace. An environment where people can get along and feel appreciated can reduce stress and boost morale, making it easier to deal with the inevitable challenges of the workplace. On the other hand, Chronic stress can be caused by high pressure, competitive, or unsupportive workplaces, which in turn can lead to burnout, lower productivity, and even physical health problems. Our stress levels are shaped not only by the people we interact with, but also by the places we live and work. Things like crowding, air quality, and proximity to green spaces are all part of the physical environment. Persistent exposure to stressful environmental conditions, such as high levels of noise or pollution, can hinder our capacity for rest and rejuvenation. However, studies suggest that being close to nature can have a relaxing impact, aiding in stress reduction and overall mental health. Living in a hazardous area or without access to basic amenities can lead to persistent stress and anxiety. On the other hand, living in a safe and welcoming neighborhood where neighbors look out for one another and social tensions are minimal can do wonders for your mental health. Sociocultural and economic environments might play a big role in affecting our stress levels. Disparities in wealth, high unemployment rates, prejudice, and high societal expectations all contribute to the chronic stress that many people experience. The dynamics of our relationships can be influenced by societal expectations and cultural beliefs. For example, family and relationship problems might arise when one or both parties feel pressured to act in accordance with stereotypical gender stereotypes. Relationships can be negatively impacted by the increased stress that results from discrimination and socioeconomic inequality. Understanding and managing stress requires a comprehensive method of stress management that takes into account both individual and societal variables. We can strive towards building a more resilient and stress-reducing ecosystem for individuals and groups by cultivating healthy relationships, fostering supportive settings, and lobbying for societal changes that lower stressors. The level of stress that people experience can be greatly influenced by the nature of their social relationships and their immediate surroundings. Research has shown that stress-related disorders are less common in populations with strong social support networks. When people in an area band together to offer one another psychological, logistical, and educational support, its members are better able to weather misfortune and get back on their feet. On the other side, isolated people who have few friends or family tend to be more stressed. Chapter 4. Methods of managing stress. Stress can be effectively managed via the practice of relaxation techniques. Breathing exercises, meditation, and paying attention to the present moment are just a few of the many methods that have been shown to be helpful and may easily be implemented into daily life. Taking slow, deep breaths in and out is called deep breathing, and it is often regarded as the cornerstone of calm. To relax and calm oneself, one can practice deep breathing via the nose, which involves expanding the abdomen, and then exhaling gently through the mouth. By increasing oxygen intake and stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, deep breathing helps the body and mind to relax and cope better with stress. Meditation is another stress reduction method. It entails stillness and concentration on the breath, a mantra, or a mental image. Being detached from one's chaotic stream of consciousness, one can find inner calm via the practice of observing thoughts and feelings without judgment. Regular meditation practice has been linked to decreased anxiety, enhanced focus, and a better quality of life. Mindfulness is a form of meditation that encourages paying attention in the here and now. It entails paying close attention to one's internal and external experiences without passing judgment or acting on impulse. Mindfulness teaches people to be open to whatever comes their way, regardless of how they might feel about it. There are many ways to include these stress reduction practices into your routine. Short breaks during the day can be used to practice deep breathing, and exercises like yoga and stretching can also help. Meditation can be practiced in a quiet room for a certain amount of time, or it can be included into regular activities like walking or eating. The practice of mindfulness can be developed by paying attention while performing routine activities like washing the dishes or brushing one's teeth. Keep in mind that everyone responds differently to different relaxation methods. What helps one person may have no effect on another. It is possible for people to find the methods that work best for them by exploring and experimenting with various options. Deep breathing, meditation, and mindfulness are all practices that may be easily incorporated into daily life to help with stress management, boost health, and create a more peaceful and balanced outlook. There's also progressive muscle relaxation, in which you systematically tense and then relax sets of muscles all over your body. Tensing and then releasing one's muscles voluntarily has been shown to induce a profound state of relaxation and reduce the physiological manifestations of stress. Guided imagery, often known as visualization, taps into the creative potential of the mind to conjure up pleasant mental images. One way to achieve inner peace is to close one's eyes and think about something peaceful, or take a mental journey to a faraway land. By training one's thoughts on pleasant images, visualization can be used to quiet the mind and reduce stress. There's a mindfulness practice called body scanning, in which one deliberately moves from head to toe while giving attention to each body area and becoming aware of any sensations of tension. Individuals can relieve stress and enter a state of profound relaxation by focusing on various parts of the body and observing bodily sensations without judgment. People who want to strengthen their mind-body connection or who suffer from the physical manifestations of stress might benefit greatly from practicing body scanning. Progressive relaxation is another effective method of reducing stress, since it trains one to relax one area of the body at a time. People flex and extend their bodies, tensing and relaxing their muscles as they go. This method enhances one's awareness of one's physical self, encourages muscle relaxation, and helps reduce stress and tension in the body. Aromatherapy is another method of stress relief that makes use of the psychological effects of various aromatic compounds. Typically, this method employs the use of essential oils extracted from various plants. Essential oils like lavender, chamomile, and peppermint can activate the olfactory system and elicit calming reactions in the brain simply by being inhaled or applied topically. Painting, drawing, or coloring can be a great way to let your mind wander and unwind. Participating in artistic pursuits is a great way to de-stress, deal with emotions, and concentrate on the here and now. It's a nonverbal way to express yourself that can help you unwind and let go of stressful thoughts. Writing down one's feelings, thoughts, and experiences in a journal is also another way to deal with stress. Writing helps people deal with stress, gain perspective, and release pent-up feelings. Gratitude journals, free writing, and reflective prompts are just some of the ways that journaling may be used to help people relax and gain insight into themselves. Relaxation techniques can also include engaging in hobbies or activities that offer delight and provide a sensation of flow. Involvement in pleasurable pursuits, such as music, gardening, dance, or sports, induces a sense of calm in those who partake. These pursuits offer time away from worries, the chance to do something enjoyable, and the chance to recharge and feel good about oneself. The stress-relieving effects of physical activity. Endorphins, also known as the feel-good hormones, are released by the body during physical activity. These endorphins help to relieve stress. Exercising frequently not only boosts endorphin production, but also raises our brain's sensitivity to these chemicals, resulting in an improved mood and reduced stress. Physical activity also helps provide a constructive outlet for negative emotions such as stress, rage, and frustration. We can feel refreshed and revitalized after engaging in sports like running, swimming, dancing, or even practicing yoga, since they take our minds off our problems. Stress reduction is only one of exercise's many benefits. Stress can interfere with our natural sleep patterns. Exercising on a regular basis has been shown to improve sleep quality by making it simpler to fall asleep and prolonging the amount of time spent in deep sleep. Regular exercise can help you feel more in charge of your life and more confident in your abilities. When we work out, we reclaim control over our bodies and our health, counteracting the effects of stress that can leave us feeling overwhelmed and powerless. A lower stress level is associated with increased empowerment and confidence that comes from feeling in charge. Exercise provides indirect advantages for stress reduction since it improves long-term health. Cardiovascular health, blood pressure, immunological system, and weight all benefit from regular physical activity. When our physical health is good, we are better able to deal with stress and bounce back quickly from setbacks. Mood and stress-regulating neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine are released in response to physical activity. Anxiety and despair are common responses to overwhelming stress, but these neurotransmitters play a crucial role in keeping your emotions in check. Exercising not only helps your body, but it also brings people together and fosters a sense of belonging. Group activities, such as team sports or fitness courses, help people meet and form relationships with others who share their interests. Physical activity has been shown to boost both self-esteem and satisfaction with one's physical appearance. Fitness, weight, and looks can all benefit from a regular exercise routine. Better cardiovascular health, essential for handling stress, is another benefit of regular exercise. In order to ensure that the body's organs and tissues receive the oxygen and nutrients they need, regular physical activity strengthens the heart and enhances blood circulation. Reduced cardiovascular stress and increased general resilience make it possible for the body to better handle stress. Self-care and stress management. When it comes to stress management and general health, self-care is a powerful and life-altering practice. Self-care is an all-encompassing concept that includes taking care of one's body, mind, and spirit. When we practice self-care, we tend to our physical needs and give our bodies the love and attention they deserve. The first step is learning to value sleep and making sure you get enough of it. Putting excellent sleep first not only helps the body recover physically, but it also strengthens the mind, making it easier to deal with stress. Physical activity that one enjoys can have similar effects on one's mood, energy, and stress levels as that of regular exercise. Fueling our bodies with nutritious, well-balanced meals and plenty of water helps maintain our health and provides us with the vitality we need to take on the challenges of each day. When we take care of our minds and brains, we are practicing self-care. Reading, puzzle solving, writing, and other intellectually and creatively stimulating pursuits are all examples of this. The mind can be calmed and tension reduced by taking breaks and engaging in mindful or meditative practices. When we practice emotional self-care, we prioritize looking after our own mental health. The first step is making room for and accepting all of our feelings. Journaling, painting, or just listening to music can be very therapeutic ways to express yourself and let out pent-up feelings. Self-care is an absolute must and should not be treated as a luxury. It's important to keep in mind that prioritizing our own well-being is not selfish, but rather an act of self-preservation and self-love that allows us to give others the best version of ourselves. Therefore, let us recognize the importance of self-care and work towards developing a supportive bond with ourselves, knowing that we merit the highest level of attention and nourishment in every facet of our lives. The more we make self-care a top priority, the more we will see the positive impacts in every area of our lives. When we take care of ourselves on all levels, physically, psychologically, and emotionally, we strengthen our ability to bounce back from setbacks. When we take care of ourselves emotionally and physically, it has a positive effect on our minds. We broaden our horizons and become more receptive to new ideas and points of view when we partake in mental and creative pursuits. Practicing self-care also increases our feelings of value and self-worth. Self-care is a strong act that conveys the message that we are valued and that our needs are paramount. By taking charge of our own lives, we are better equipped to protect ourselves, live in accordance with our principles, and advance our own happiness. Chapter 5. Stress and Time Management. An effective stress management strategy involves evaluating and organizing one's priorities. You might feel more in charge and less overwhelmed if you know what needs doing and set priorities. The following is a sequence of activities that can help you organize your priorities and reduce stress. First, focus on the here and now by taking a few deep breaths. Next, think on the big picture and what you hope to accomplish. Think about your life's goals and how they relate to the things that are really important to you. This introspection will shed light on which tasks require your immediate attention and which ones can wait. Think about how important and urgent each task is. Sort out what needs to be done right away and what can wait till later. You can use the results of this analysis to spot any pressing commitments, reduce large, overwhelming tasks to a series of simpler actions. Doing so will help you see the steps more clearly, allowing you to tackle them methodically. The sheer immensity of a task can be reduced by breaking it down into smaller, more manageable chunks. Think about your time, energy, and accessible resources. Think practically about what you can accomplish with the resources at your disposal. With this knowledge, you may avoid overextending yourself and instead focus on achieving realistic goals. Tasks that aren't absolutely necessary or are outside your expertise should be eliminated or delegated. Accept the fact that you can't solve every problem by yourself. When you can, delegate work to others or ask for help when you feel overwhelmed. Make a malleable timetable or list of things to do that reflect your priorities. Divide your day into segments or set aside set amounts of time for each task. Try not to overbook your time. 2. You'll need some breathing room for emergencies and downtime. Learn to say no to requests that don't fit with your priorities and establish limits for yourself. When you're feeling overwhelmed, it's acceptable to decline or negotiate. You can better prioritize the things in your life if you safeguard your time and effort. It's important to constantly evaluate your priorities. Priorities must be reevaluated when life's circumstances shift. Keeping an open mind and being willing to make changes will help you avoid getting off track and will reduce your stress levels. Following this sequence of actions will help you establish a routine that streamlines the process of evaluating and categorizing your priorities. With this method, you'll feel less overwhelmed, more productive, and in charge of your life overall. Keep an eye out for indicators of stress as you go about your day. Learn to identify the indicators, such as a rise in irritability or inattention, as well as any bodily manifestations, such as a headache or tense muscles. If you find yourself experiencing any of these, it's time to take stock. Tasks may need to be reevaluated, reordered, or delegated in order to reduce stress levels. When you're feeling down, talk to someone, anyone. Having a conversation with another person about your priorities can help you see things in a new light. No matter how insignificant they may seem, you should be proud of your accomplishments. Appreciate your efforts in time management and progress thus far. Motivating and inspiring oneself by rewarding oneself for achieving goals and completing activities is a well-established psychological principle. How to prioritize. Get started with some well-defined objectives and priorities. It's crucial to prioritize what needs doing first every day. By laying out specific goals, you'll be able to avoid wasting time on trivial problems and give your full attention to the things that matter the most. Reduce complex jobs to more manageable chunks. Procrastination is a common result of taking on too large of a project. You can tackle things with more ease and maintain your motivation if you break them down into manageable chunks. Make some sort of plan or checklist. Keeping your to-dos in front of you is a great way to keep yourself on track and avoid forgetting anything. Sort your to-dos in order of priority and urgency, then give each one its own chunk of time. Figure out how to reject offers. Realizing your limitations will help you prevent stress and burnout caused by taking on too much. Maintaining a positive work-life balance requires setting priorities and learning to say no to requests that don't fit those priorities or would cause an undue burden on your schedule. Don't be afraid to hand over responsibilities. Accept the fact that you can't solve every problem by yourself. Delegate work to your team or coworkers if they can help. Not only does delegation relieve stress, but it also fosters teamwork and the growth of individual members. Use your words properly. When assigning work, be sure to specify due dates, resources needed, and other pertinent details. The chances of a task being completed successfully is increased when there is clear and consistent communication amongst all participants. Focus on your energy levels and figure out when you have the greatest motivation and can get the most done. If you want to get the most out of your time, try scheduling your most difficult and time-consuming chores then. Locate distractions and do away with them completely. A few examples include removing any distractions from your work environment, muting your phone or computer, and installing software to prevent you from being diverted from your task. Take frequent rests. Long durations of time spent working without breaks are associated with lower productivity and higher stress levels. Take frequent, little breaks throughout the day to keep your energy up and your mind fresh. Get some exercise, meditate, or just take some deep breaths. The point is to unwind and relax. Chapter 6. Developing Resilience and EQ. Self-awareness is a cornerstone of emotional intelligence. This requires us to be aware of and accept our feelings as they occur. Instead of trying to hide or ignore our emotions, we try to figure out what is triggering them and why. By cultivating an awareness of our inner thoughts, we can learn to recognize and manage our emotional responses to stressful events. The ability to control one's own behavior is also crucial. People who are emotionally intelligent are able to keep their emotions in check and control their actions when under pressure. They can find healthy ways of dealing with their emotions and stress, such as deep breathing, meditation, or engaging in physical activities. Emotional intelligence includes the ability to empathize with others. It requires tuning into and feeling the feelings of people in order to forge deeper bonds and communicate more clearly. Fostering empathy allows us to connect with one another, offer solace, and foster an atmosphere conducive to cooperation. As a result, stress is alleviated and community spirit is strengthened. Improving one's social abilities is another component of being emotionally intelligent. People who are emotionally intelligent are those who are able to communicate their needs clearly while remaining open to criticism and new ideas. This improves their capacity to deal with tension in social interactions and arrive at solutions that work for everyone involved. Mindfulness meditation is another important tool for building emotional intelligence. Being mindful means paying attention to the here and now without attaching any meaning to it. Mindfulness training helps people pay attention to, rather than react to, their internal experiences. By recognizing and distancing themselves from negative thought patterns, people with heightened awareness are better equipped to respond to stressful situations with clarity and serenity. EQ promotes healthy coping mechanisms in the face of stress. Individuals can lower their stress levels and feel more in charge of their lives by employing a variety of strategies, such as time management, prioritization, and creating appropriate boundaries. Individuals can avoid feeling overwhelmed and better organize their time through proper task and responsibility organization. Fostering emotional intelligence aids in the development of a growth mindset. The idea that talent and intelligence may be honed through sustained work and experience. Adopting a growth mindset means seeing setbacks not as fatal barriers, but as stepping stones for learning and development. By adopting this stance, we may face challenging situations with an open mind, a strong will, and a readiness to learn from our mistakes, all of which contribute to our development as individuals. The ability to control one's emotions is another key component of resilience. The capacity to recover quickly from setbacks and readjust positively to new circumstances is what's known as resilience. The ability to manage one's feelings, keep a positive outlook, and deal effectively with adversity are all skills that can be honed via the cultivation of emotional intelligence. The ability to be resilient allows us to keep going when things don't go as planned, come up with new approaches to problems, and keep our spirits up even in the face of adversity. Methods for controlling one's feelings and rebounding from failure. Invest in learning about and being familiar with your own emotional habits and triggers. Look inward and note the mental and emotional processes and bodily sensations that accompany stressful events. Knowing this can help you understand your feelings and formulate a plan of action for dealing with adversity. Building up your resistance to stress is also crucial. The ability to overcome obstacles and keep a positive outlook is a key component of resilience. It's about seeing failures in a new light. You can face difficulties with confidence and optimism if you take stock of your accomplishments and work to strengthen your mental fortitude. Mindfulness training is a powerful tool for dealing with negative emotions and managing stress. The practice of mindfulness entails paying attention to the here and now, without passing judgment on your feelings or thoughts. It is possible to respond to stressful events with calmness by practicing mindfulness techniques like meditation and deep breathing. One more useful tactic is to reach out to friends and family for help. In trying circumstances, it can be quite beneficial to form relationships with others who can offer you emotional support, understanding, and perspective. Communicate your thoughts, feelings, and experiences to people you trust, whether they be friends, family, or professionals. Sharing your struggles with others can bring you much-needed solace, direction, and new perspectives. Taking up healthy habits is essential for dealing with stress and keeping one's emotions in check. Endorphins are released during physical activity and act as a natural mood booster. Spend some time each day doing things that make you happy and help you unwind and recharge. Priority self-care rituals like reading a book or engaging in a hobby. Try to see your failures in a new light, as lessons you may use to improve for the future. Instead of concentrating on the negative, Think about what you can learn from it and how it might help you grow as a person. By training yourself to look on the bright side, you may face challenges head-on with optimism and resilience. Reduce big tasks to more manageable chunks. When you take the initiative to solve a problem, you restore your sense of agency and alleviate stress. Try several approaches, learn as much as you can. Keep in mind that obstacles are just there to test your resolve, and that with hard work and resourcefulness, you can overcome them. Do things that help you unwind and calm down, such as deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, or pursuing a hobby that brings you happiness. The relaxation response is triggered by these methods, which helps mitigate the physical effects of stress and boost morale. Master the art of saying no when it's called for and setting priorities depending on what's most pressing. Overwhelming stress can be avoided, and a healthier work-life balance can be maintained via careful management of responsibilities and the allocation of time for self-care and relaxation. Chapter 7. The role of diet in stress reduction. Eating the right kinds of food can do wonders for your stress levels and general health. Most discussions of stress tend to center on extrinsic causes, such as demanding job schedules, impending deadlines, or interpersonal relationships. However, our ability to manage stress depends in large part on the foods we eat and the nutrients we take in. The correlation between stress and blood sugar is an important factor to consider. When we're under pressure, our bodies produce hormones like cortisol that can raise blood sugar. A rise in blood sugar levels has been linked to increased nervousness and anger. The effects of stress on the body can be reduced and blood sugar levels stabilized by eating a diet rich in complex carbs, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Omega-3 fatty acids, which are abundant in foods like fish, flax seeds, and walnuts, have been linked to improved mental health. Neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine play a role in mood modulation and stress management, and these fatty acids aid in their regulation. We may feel less anxious and have a brighter outlook on life if we eat these meals often. The billions of bacteria that make up the gut microbiome have an important role in a wide range of physiological functions, from the manufacture of neurotransmitters to the control of the immune system. Improved stress resistance and psychological well-being may result from maintaining a healthy gut microbiome with a diet high in fiber, prebiotics, and probiotics. The importance of micronutrients like vitamins and minerals in handling stress cannot be overstated. Some vitamins, like B6, B12, and folate, help maintain healthy brain function by contributing to the production of neurotransmitters. The mineral magnesium, which may be found in foods like nuts, seeds, and whole grains, has been linked to better mental health and more restful sleep. Micronutrients essential for effective stress management can be obtained by eating diets high in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. The way we eat might affect our stress levels. One way to slow down and savor one's food is to practice what's called mindful eating, which involves focusing on one's senses while eating. Taking a more attentive approach to life might help you unwind and avoid binge eating, both of which contribute to stress. It's also worth noting that the stress response itself might have an effect on our appetite, prompting us to make poor food choices. When we're feeling overwhelmed by stress, it's common to reach for foods that are high in sugar, fat, and processed carbohydrates. Unfortunately, these meals can contribute to a vicious cycle of bad nutrition by giving you a temporary boost in energy followed by a crash that makes your stress even worse. Recognizing the role that food plays in coping with stress allows us to make educated decisions that benefit our health even when things get tough. Meal planning and preparation is a useful strategy because it increases the availability of healthy foods and decreases the use of unhealthy convenience foods. When you eat healthy foods, you give yourself a fighting chance against stress. Hydration, like proper nourishment, is essential for stress management. When you're dehydrated, you're more likely to feel stressed out, exhausted, and unable to focus. Water consumption throughout the day aids in the maintenance of normal bodily processes and the control of stress. Maintaining peak physical and mental performance in the face of adversity calls for a combination of regular hydration and a healthy, well-rounded diet. It's important to note that although proper diet is an important element of managing stress, it's only one piece of the puzzle. A comprehensive approach to managing stress should include regular physical activity, the practice of relaxation methods like meditation or yoga, adequate rest, and positive relationships with others. A trained dietitian can provide individualized advice because everyone reacts to stress differently and has different nutritional requirements. Individual dietary constraints, health concerns, and desired outcomes can all be taken into account before making particular suggestions. Also, the time of day that we eat can have an effect on our stress levels. Swings in blood sugar caused by irregular eating or skipping meals have been linked to increased irritation, exhaustion, and stress responses. Maintaining a consistent supply of nutrients to aid in stress management can be facilitated by establishing regular meal times and eating healthy snacks throughout the day. The role of sleep in alleviating stress. Getting a good night's sleep is critical for managing stress and staying healthy. When we talk about getting a good night's rest, we're talking about the kind of sleep that allows our bodies and minds to fully recharge. A deep, undisturbed sleep. Tissue repair, muscle growth, and hormone control are all processes that occur during this stage of sleep. Higher levels of stress hormones like cortisol are produced by the body when we are stressed, and these hormones can interfere with our ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. When we don't get enough sleep, our stress levels rise, and vice versa. This is a downward spiral that has serious consequences for our emotional and physical well-being. Getting enough sleep can greatly aid in managing stress. Having a good night's sleep makes it easier to think clearly and remain calm under pressure. However, sleep loss can raise stress since it impairs one's capacity to think clearly, deal with frustration, and delay gratification. A good night's sleep aids in the consolidation of new information and the formation of long-term memories. This means that we have a greater capacity for processing and retaining information, which in turn facilitates our ability to solve problems and make good choices. However, sleep deprivation has the opposite effect. Lack of sleep lowers our immune system, making us more vulnerable to illness. Conditions like heart disease, obesity, and diabetes have all been related to insufficient sleep over an extended period of time. Stress is made worse by the difficulties and worries that come with these health problems. The quality of our sleep and our ability to deal with stress can be considerably improved by the adoption of healthy sleep habits and the creation of a sleep-friendly environment. This includes things like setting a regular bedtime, developing a soothing pre-bedtime ritual, and making your bedroom a restful place to be in. Better sleep can be achieved by avoiding stimulants like caffeine and gadgets in the hours leading up to bedtime. When we get enough sleep, we improve our chances of having a happy emotional experience. That a good night's sleep is essential for keeping your hormones in check. Appetite-regulating hormones like leptin and ghrelin, as well as the associated sensations of satiety and hunger, are affected by sleep loss. Sleep deprivation has been linked to an increase in hunger, food cravings, and weight gain, all of which can amplify feelings of stress and low self-esteem. A good night's sleep depends not only on how long you lie in bed, but also on the quality and duration of your slumber. The quality of our sleep can be affected by a variety of factors, including sleep disorders, environmental disruptions, and lifestyle decisions. In order to reap the benefits of quality sleep for stress reduction, it is essential to resolve any underlying sleep problems and implement appropriate sleep hygiene practices. The stress-reducing effects of a good night's sleep extend to how well you get along with others. Communication skills, emotional intelligence, and empathy may all suffer under the combined effects of lack of sleep and high stress. Relationships with loved ones, friends, and co-workers can be strained by sleep deprivation-induced irritability, impatience, and conflict. On the other hand, when we make sleep a priority and get enough of it, we are more likely to be patient, empathetic, and understanding with other people. We are better able to connect with others, grow our social networks, and handle life's social obstacles when we get enough good quality sleep. Well-rested people are better able to take advantage of the stress-relieving effects of exercise and other forms of physical activity. Endorphins, also known as the feel-good hormones, are released, and the production of stress hormones is decreased with regular physical activity. Because of its stress-reducing and restorative properties, it also promotes better sleep.